Sergio Leone once said, "I was born in the cinema, almost." His father was a director of silent movies, started working around about 1910. His mother was an actress in silent film. He gets into the Italian film industry and makes lots and lots of films as an assistant to Italian filmmakers in boom years, the economic miracle years of the 1950s. Simultaneously, he gets a lot of experience on Hollywood movies in Rome. So, for example, Quo Vadis. He was an assistant making the chariot race in Ben-Hur for William Wyler. So his training was partly in medium-budget Italian films and also in action sequences of Hollywood films. And I think his training says a lot about where he subsequently went. Leone wanted movies to get bigger and bigger and bigger. In fact, Clint Eastwood once told me that one of the reasons their careers had diverged was that, whereas Eastwood was very happy to make small movies to start with, that Leone, each film had to get pumped up more and more and more. He had a kind of David Lean complex. I want to make the biggest movie that's ever been made. And each of them gets bigger and bigger and bigger.
Leone is very much telling great mythic stories. They're very cynical. Yeah, all the stuff about that. Yeah, it's all about dollars.
5,000. Plus 1. You got a right to make a profit too.
He didn't approve of their ideology very much. He thought they were too triumphalist and all about the American way and a man's got to do what a man's got to do, all the ideologies of the American Western. So there's this funny paradox. He loves it to death, but at the same time, he wants to criticize it.
We want to enlist, General.
The good, the bad, and the ugly, the vision we have of the American Civil War isn't of a noble struggle to free the slaves.
Get the hell out. Sure as hell might be you today, so go right you will.
Yes, sir.
No, we have this absurdist battle that's going to keep going until the bridge is blown up.
You gotta take a test to prove it.
There is a wonderful cynicism that comes out of the politics of the time and out of him that pervades his movies.
He became more and more sort of disillusioned with the mythology. All these Wild West myths were all a sham. What lay behind it was a lie. The mythology of revolution, which was very, very strong in the post-1968 film world in Europe.
Please don't try to tell me about revolution. I know all about the revolutions and how they start. The people that read the books, they go to the people that don't read the books. They poor people and they say, ho, ho, the time has come to have a change, huh? Shit, shush! I know what I'm talking about when I'm talking about the revolutions. The people who read the books go to the people who can't read the books, the poor people, and say, we have to have a change, so the poor people make the change, huh? And then the people who read the books, they all sit around the big polished tables, and they talk and talk and talk and eat and eat and eat, huh? But what has happened to the poor people? They're dead!
Some of the earlier Leone westerns, and certainly is a factor in all of the Once Upon a Time movies, is that they're essentially love stories about men.
One of the features of Leone's stories, as distinct from the movies, is the emphasis on friendship between two males.
Come here, Max. I did it. Oh, Max, Max.
What would you do without me?
Put him in jail. Put him in jail. Not long, just long enough so he can get the idea out of his mind. And if you can't stand being away from him, put yourself there too.
It becomes the point of the movie very often in Fistful of Dynamite, and to some extent in For a Few Dollars More, the Colonel Mortimer and the Eastwood character.
You want to go swimming?
Yeah, let's go for a swim.
They're surprisingly sentimental in a way. Everything else is very hard, very tough, very hard-edged, but there's a soft edge to these relationships. It isn't a gay thing. It isn't. It really isn't. It's pre-sexual. It's pre-Freudian. When Leone started developing a project, he became a complete perfectionist. He'd spend hours and hours and hours with his scriptwriters, Luciano Vincenzoni or Sergio Leone, hours and hours and hours with Morricone, the composer, talking it through, acting out all the characters, turning it into a kind of fairy tale as told to someone by a fireside. That was his approach of evolving stories. And then he'd have the script he liked, which was lots and lots of stage directions, not much dialogue, lots and lots of stage direction. By the time he got shooting, he had an absolutely clear idea of what he wanted. It was the opposite of improvisation. He didn't storyboard at all, he never storyboarded, but he had a very, very clear idea. Everyone who worked with him remembers the really, you put the camera there, on that spot.